Hey guys, today I'm going to be going over heroic Empress Shekzeer from the tank POV. So to start off, the main thing in this phase is Eyes of the Empress. It's a stacking debuff. When you reach 5 stacks, you get permanently mind controlled. Don't want that to happen. We found it was easiest to just swap every 2 stacks. That way it never gets close to reaching full stacks. And 2 stacks is enough for it to fall off on the previous tank. When you're tanking up here too, make sure you're a little bit forward too, because you can actually be in this purple fog stuff and it does do damage to you. So make sure you're not just taking that extra damage the whole fight if you don't need to. So we're going to be taunting for vengeance in between some of these, but the full taunt swaps are going to be every 2 stacks. These fields will be exploding for a bunch of damage throughout the fight. Somebody in your raid is probably going to be calling out kind of when those are blown up. It can be a ton of bursts if you take like melee at the same time that's exploding. So just be kind of listening for those calls on when these are blown up, or you can watch them yourself. And just make sure you're prepared to take a lot of damage from that and potential damage from the boss at the same time. You don't want to use too many of your cooldowns here. You're going to need them for the next phase. So just use anything short here. You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds until the ad phase starts, which is the very high damage part of the fight. So shorter things, like demo shout, stuff like that. Anything you can use and then you'll have back later for the really important part. And we can just skip ahead here. So going into the ad phase here, when you see those retreat timers getting close, make sure you're pooling your resources. So this is going to, vary by tank. On Brewmaster, make sure you're going in with 15 elusive brew ready, a good amount of time on your shuffle so it's not going to fall off while you're trying to pick everything up. On Warrior, make sure you're going in with 100 rage, that kind of stuff. So there are 2 ways to deal with this. You can either 3 tank this, which is the easiest way to do it, but a lot of people will prefer to 2 tank it, which is a little bit riskier. So if you're 3 tanking it, 1 tank is going to take the 2 Reavers, 1 tank is going to take 3 Wind Blades, and then the other tank is also going to take 3 Wind Blades. On each side here, we're going to have 1 Reaver and 3 Wind Blades. So we are 2 tanking this. That means I'm picking up 6 Wind Blades, and our other tank is picking up the 2 Reavers. So this is the very, very, very high damage roll, but it's also very fun because you get lots of vengeance. So misdirects are great here to help with this pickup because we have lots of mobs spawning on opposite sides of the room. On Prot Warrior, I like to pick this one up with Thunderclap, and you will want pre-popped CDs going into this too. So as I'm picking these up, I pop Shield Wall and I get a PS. I'm also going to pop Shield Block. This is the most dangerous part of the fight because you're taking a ton of damage and you haven't ramped up your Vengeance yet. So make sure you're overlapping some cooldowns here. So here I drop my Thunderclap, and then I'm going to pick up the other side by heroic leaping to it. And then you'll want to have with Kaze or any like way you can pre-assign cooldowns. Make sure you're pre-assigning all of these cooldowns. You're going to be taking a ton of damage. You're managing a lot of survivability stuff on your own here. So you don't really want to have to like call for each one of these individually. Ideally, you have some kind of WeakAuras that's like telling everybody when to use their cooldowns. And once you get through the initial part, it's fine to just have like a 30% DR on you. Because we really just need this Vengeance to ramp up and then we'll be totally fine. So here you can see we're... we have Vigilance, and the way you should set this up is that somebody's going to be getting notified to cast the next buff on you when the current one's at like 2 seconds. That way, if there's some player lag, hopefully you don't run into a situation where you have no DR on you. So ideally, when 2 seconds left were on the vigilance, the rep pally would have been getting a notification to sec. This one was, I think maybe our WeakAuras wasn't quite working correctly here. So the sec comes in pretty late there. Luckily, it didn't really matter. We've ramped our vengeance really well, so we're getting huge shield barriers now. And you are taking absurd amounts of damage here, so you do want to make sure you keep that rolling. And here you can see how quickly we dropped there. That was really bad because we let the shield barrier drop a little bit. And we almost died there. So make sure the shield barrier doesn't die or doesn't fall off. You'll also notice we don't have a DR at this time either. So this is a little bit of a scary moment here. But once these ads start dying, then it gets a lot easier because it's kind of like the Anubrak ads. Like the more that are close together, the more damage they all do. They buff each other. So as each one dies, you're going to be taking like significantly less damage. They also fixate people. So during the times that they're fixating people, they're obviously not attacking you. So a lot less damage during that time too. But Prot Warrior is amazing for this. Shield Barrier goes super hard. Brewmaster is great for it too. Just make sure, you know, you're really good about keeping up Shuffle, Elusive Brew, and Purifying when you need to. But you can see you get to do a lot of damage there. It's very, very fun. There's going to be some resin that drops, and people put it into the puddles over there. Let's see if we can see that. And so then you're going to have the two Reavers. You're going to drag one of them into a puddle when it reaches 5 stacks. Ideally, you keep the other Reaver alive just the whole rest of the fight here. Should mention too that when all the wind blades die, the boss just comes back also, regardless of what the timer is on her coming back. So be prepared for that. If you're not quite ready to phase, you need to just not finish killing the wind blades. So these Reavers, they don't do a ton of damage, but they're nice because they give you vengeance. They also give you like your procs. So you're going to have your, you know, most tanks have like some kind of thing they proc from incoming hits. So it is really nice for that. But they also do put a poison debuff on you that spreads to other players, and it gives them a poison damage proc on their abilities. And this will actually be a pretty high percentage of damage for people. So they just need to get near you to get that buff. And it is super, super worth it. It does a lot of damage. Here, we're just going back to what we were doing in phase 1. The only difference is now we have this Reaver here too. It does have the frontal, so we want that positioned outwards a little bit. Just make sure it never hits the raid, and hopefully it's not hitting the current tank either. And we're still just swapping every 2 of these debuffs. But now we're also swapping the Reaver too. So whoever is taunting Shekzeer, the current tank will then taunt the Reaver, and you guys are just switching roles there. At 30%, she's going to phase, and this last phase, you will be taking quite a bit of damage. So the big thing here is just make sure you're utilizing your externals. They should all be coming up at this point from the ad phase. So you'll have tons of stuff to use here. So pretty much every time you're tanking the boss during this part of the fight, you're going to want to call for some kind of external or, run your own defensives, whatever. But I would generally try to have very high uptime on some kind of defensive cooldown during this final phase. And the boss is going to turn and do a conal attack that also fears. So you're going to want to just be aware of that. It's not going to come in the tank direction unless somebody's horribly out of position. But just make sure that you're not, like too far into the hitbox and you're, able to be hit by that even though you're like technically behind her. But yeah, that's the whole fight right there. It is a pretty cool tank fight just because you get so much vengeance in this fight, and it is important to call for lots of externals on this fight, so you do get to kind of get the full tank experience, getting tons of vengeance, using tons of externals, all that stuff. But hope this was helpful for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.